Imagine paying for a friend again and again and again until one day at a crowded fair in the heat with screaming kids, she looks you dead in the eyes and says, "I'm broke. You pay." And then she tries to guilt trip you for not buying even more. But what she didn't know is, this time I was done being her personal ATM. And the revenge? She never saw it coming. If you've ever had someone use you, drain you, or treat your kindness like a free credit card, hit that like button. Subscribe for more insane Reddit revenge stories, because this one is the moment a friend learned exactly what happens when you mistake generosity for stupidity. I didn't realize I was raising a toddler and a full-grown adult at the same time. My son was barely 1 year old, sleep-deprived nights, cold coffee mornings, messy hair, but I was happy. Motherhood makes you softer in some ways, but sharper in others. Maybe that softness is why when an old friend reached out, let's call her Megan, I felt a twinge of nostalgia. We drifted apart years ago, different lives. But now she was a stay-at-home mom with 2 boys going through a separation that was really just her living with her husband while claiming misery. And somehow, I became her emotional support person, her therapist, her outlet. At first, I didn't mind. We had history. Motherhood is lonely. Friendship matters. But Megan didn't want a friend. She wanted a sponsor. It started small. A coffee here, a lunch there. I'm financially stable, my husband too. We budget carefully, but Megan looked at us like we were swimming in gold. Every outing came with the same pattern. "Oh my God, I left my wallet. I'll Venmo you later." You know how hard stay-at-home mom life is. And I, foolishly, let it slide because I cared, because I believed her, because I didn't want to seem rude. Then came the Applebee's incident. She wanted to go out. I suggested Applebee's because it's affordable. She literally wrinkled her nose and said, "Ugh, I was hoping for something more fancy, like a real restaurant." Mind you, I'm married, happily married. Why was she acting like I owed her a date? Still, we went to Applebee's. Guess who paid? Of course, me. But I didn't cut her off. Not yet, because the real explosion happened at the fair. We planned a playdate with our kids. Simple, innocent. I never offered to pay, never implied I would, never even hinted. But the moment we reached the ticket booths, she said, "Crap, I left my wallet in my car. Just grab our passes and I'll Venmo you later." I hesitated, but the kids were excited, the line was long, and I didn't want a meltdown. So I paid for 5 passes. Again. We went in, rode rides, sweated in the sun. For a moment, it felt like friendship. But lunchtime changed everything. Her kids immediately started shouting orders, nachos, fries, lemonade, and she didn't try to control them, not once. She just looked at me like she was waiting for me to pull out my card. I tried to order basics to keep the peace, but she jumped in and added even more. "Let's get funnel cake, 2 lemonades, a turkey leg." A turkey leg the size of my forearm. The total? $110. My jaw clenched. My stomach dropped. But I paid because the kids were there, because I didn't want a scene, because I hated confrontation. But as we were leaving, sweaty and exhausted, I asked calmly, "Hey, before we go, can you Venmo me?" She froze, looked straight into my eyes, and said, "I don't have any money. I'm broke. My husband cut me off." It felt like being slapped. I said, "Then why did you suggest the fair and say you'd Venmo me?" Her reply, "You don't understand. You guys make good money. I'm a stay-at-home mom. It's harder for me." My hands literally trembled on my son's stroller. She had planned this. She wanted me to feel guilty. She wanted to exploit me. On the walk out, she even stopped outside an escape room and said, "I wish we could go in there," while giving me a pathetic, begging face. No. Enough. I said, "It's late. My son needs to nap," and walked away. Later that day, she called non-stop, text after text, inviting herself to my house, begging for plans, pretending nothing happened. I didn't answer for days. My husband listened to the whole story and immediately said, "Cut her off. She's using you. She's manipulating you." And for once, I agreed. So I sent her a message. Calm, direct, honest. I told her she took advantage of me, that she lied, that she owes me money, that if she'd been honest about being broke, we could have planned something free. Her reply wasn't an apology. It was pure gaslighting. "What do you expect? I'm depressed. I'm going through a divorce. You're holding this over my head. I never asked you to pay." Except she did, repeatedly. I reminded her she promised to Venmo me. She said, "You're greedy. You don't know what it's like to struggle. You think you're better than me." Then the kicker. "You're seriously watching my expenses? Why are you even texting me?" This from the woman who showed up to the fair sipping Starbucks. I blocked her. And honestly, I thought that was the end of it. But karma wasn't done. A week later, I got a long message from her husband. He apologized profusely and said he had some questions. Apparently, Megan had been telling him that I begged to hang out, that I insisted on paying for everything, that I was spoiling her because I felt bad for her marriage. He thought I was some weird, clingy friend throwing money at her. But when she came home whining about how I refused to take her to the escape room, he got suspicious. He checked their bank account. She wasn't cut off. She wasn't broke. She hadn't been abandoned. She had been transferring money into a separate account for herself, for Starbucks, for online shopping, for spa days, while pretending to be destitute. He confronted her. They fought. The kids cried. Her whole facade cracked open. He asked to see my messages. She refused, so he asked me. And I sent everything. Every manipulative lie, every guilt trip, every fake promise, every attempt to make me pay for her life. Her husband was stunned, embarrassed, angry not at me, but at her. And in the fallout, she moved out temporarily, not because of me, but because her own lies finally collapsed. I didn't scream. I didn't expose her. I didn't sabotage her life. The truth did it for me. Sometimes revenge isn't loud. Sometimes it doesn't require planning. Sometimes it's just telling the truth to the one person who needs to hear it. And when someone builds their life on manipulation and guilt, the truth is enough to burn it all down. I didn't ruin her friendship with me. I didn't ruin her marriage. I didn't ruin her reputation. She did that, all on her own. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button. Drop a comment telling us the most manipulative friend you've ever dealt with. And don't forget to subscribe for more real revenge stories, where justice comes served cold, honest, and beautifully deserved.